Hello, my name is Neil, and in this module I'm going to go through very briefly the review workflow for the IT review system. In the workflow, there are three actors that can take an action. There is an author, which we've coded blue in this presentation. There is a reviewer, which we've coded brown, and there's a system, so the IT review system itself, which does some automatic actions. This is coded in green. The author is somebody who has been given the privileges and the authorization to create a project and to make reviews and is basically the owner of the review process. The reviewer is somebody with any role who answers the questionnaire and provides review input to the reviewer. So let's get started with the first step. So the first thing that an author does is create a project. Now, when you create a project, you do a number of things, and one of the most important things is you attach a questionnaire to that project. Of the rest of the project life, all reviews that are associated with this project will use the same questionnaire. There's a good deal of customization that you can actually do to the questionnaire. That's covered in the customization module. But for now, it's important to know you enter the basic details of the project and you associate a questionnaire with the project, and you're ready to start reviewing the project. And that's the next step. So every time you want to perform a review, you need to create a new review workflow for that project. And if this is your first review workflow, then you create it from scratch. And if you've had previous reviews, you might want to copy an existing review and use that to go further. Now, review has a number of important attributes, and one of the most important is who is actually doing the reviewing. So you will attach to a review a number of people who are actually going to answer the questionnaire and do the reviewing for you. And each of these people has a role. Now, this is different from the role that you have in giving authorizations. This is a role in the project. So, for example, you could have a waterfall project with a steering committee, and somebody would have the role of steering committee member. Somebody else might have the role of programmer, somebody else project manager. So these roles are used partially to determine how the scores that people give are weighted and used in the eventual analysis of the review information. That's one important piece of information you attach to a particular review. The other, of course, is the date. When does it start? When does it end? When do people need to be reminded to fill in their forms? Now, when you copy a review, the information about who reviews in which role is copied with it, but the information about dates isn't, because it's a new review with a new set of dates and needs to be started up in a new process. And every review you do eventually produces another data set which is attached to the project, which you can use to analyze the review and analyze the project as it progresses over time. Now, once you've assigned a start date to a review, the review started by the system based on the timer. And this will result in new tasks being created for all the reviewers to answer the questionnaire. Depending upon how you've actually configured your preferences for your specific site, it may also result in emails being sent out to tell people those tasks waiting for you to complete, will you please complete it. Once this is done, the reviewers can answer their questionnaires. Generally speaking, a reviewer will either have a mail or will occasionally log in, but you log in and you see on your task list you have a new task. You click on the task and you will answer the questionnaire. In principle, reviewers can take as long as they like to answer a questionnaire, but they will be sent a reminder. And at some point, the review ends. Now, the review ends at the date that the author has set in that particular review that it should end. But there are a number of cases which could be happening here. The first is that everybody's finished their review and everybody's answered the questionnaires. If that's the case, the review will actually end before the review end date comes along, for the simple reason that everybody's done the work, so there's no reason to delay. The review is ended. If that doesn't happen, the review will always end on the end date, but it may not be that everybody's filled in their forms, and the author now has to make a choice. Do we close the review and go further with the analysis, or do we make one last attempt to get everybody to fill in the questionnaire before we close the review and go on to the analysis? Which is why there's a separate step that the author specifically closes the review. Once you've closed the review, then nobody else can answer questions. No more data can be added to the review. That's the last step, and you go on further to the analysis. So it's very important that when the review ends, if not everybody has completed, the reviewer gets a new task. Do you want to close the review? The author gets a new task. Do you want to close this review? And he or she may decide, no, I don't want to close the review. I'm going to call somebody, make sure the form is filled in, and then I'll close the review. And that's an extra step. Once the review is closed, then the analysis data becomes available. The analysis is done based upon various data sets that have been calculated from the answers to the questionnaires from the different reviewers. And analysis is a fairly broad topic with a number of videos and a number of modules associated with how do I do an analysis. So I won't cover it here. But the basics are you have to decide, firstly, whether your reviewers are sufficiently in agreement that you can take the results of the analysis as a basis to understanding the health of the project, or that in fact there is so much difference of opinion on how the questionnaires have been answered that you need to take an extra step to understand where these differences come from, communication problems, different views on how the project is proceeding, and that has to be dealt with first before you can actually sensibly use the information as a method of assessing the project. Once you've done an analysis, and really the analysis process is thinking about it, finding what actions need to be taken and documenting this, and there is space in the review information to document this, you can then publish it. Publishing a review means that the analysis that you've entered into the review, along with the basic health of the project, plus the reviewer's own scores, become available to every reviewer. So if I'm a reviewer, and the author has published, I can see three things: the text that the author has entered as an analysis of this review, the weighted scores for the general health of the project in the form of gauges, and a summary of how I personally scored on all of the questions that have been asked. And once that's completed, basically the cycle begins again. You may want to review the project once more, or the project may be completed. You want to do a post-project review, which is a slightly different type of review, or you may be complete and stop the project. But you can do as many reviews as you like and continue the cycle. And of course, once you start doing more reviews, the analysis will make trend data available to you. So that's all I really want to say about the overview. Each of these steps has a separate module explaining in more detail how this works. There's also detail upon customizations, and some of the links are available at the end of this video.